And boom, we are live. GM everybody. Another week, another batch analysis. And quick disclaimer, let me break it to you. I didn't get a single win this week, even though I have 10 trades. So, not the best week. I missed one win, unfortunately. But not the worst week either. I took a lot of break evens. And, yeah, I'm overall quite interested in what I did. I literally never check the trades after I take them. I always do it in the batch analysis as to not confuse myself. So I'm always very interested whether I was able to follow my rules or not, because ultimately that is what it's all about. So before we start, what was I trying to focus on this week? Actually, let's start here. Last week, I was very happy with my contexts, happy with the validation, and happy with management. But I made a lot of mistakes on my entry. I took two MMB3 entries. I took entries where there was too much supply in the market, so it was quite choppy. And I traded in some stage ones on the E. So that's something that I definitely need to remove. I've been seeing this week after week that most of my mistakes are really on the E. So that's my main focus. So this focus was not to trade MB3s, of course, not to trade after weak stage 2s, aka I need to see the buy button, and don't trade below the diagonals on the high time frame. And this does not belong here. All right. So, whoopsie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trades. And I have 10 trades here as well on the Notion, so let's get into it. First trade, -1 on gold. So let me take a look. Here we are in the 1 hour. Before this, there was obviously some strong trend. We can see that by the rising EMAs. Then it reaccumulated, started another momentum cycle, reaccumulated, started another momentum cycle. I think this is amazing. This context looks really good, looks very bullish. This is a nice MMB over here, and I guess I was looking to trade out of this with this expectation. So I like the 1 hour. This I don't like too much though. And why? This here, like when I trade, let's say if this was my E, right, I would be interested in this, and this would determine whether I'm even willing to trade within this reaccumulation. And this is kind of okay, but this, this looks really fucking weak, to be honest. It's very wicky, very back and forth. There aren't really any valid demand zones left behind. There isn't any imbalance. It's one of those choppy, draggy uptrends that that just mitigates everything, right? Whenever it goes, it mitigates. Then here it went a little bit, it mitigated. Here it went a little bit, it mitigated. Everything gets mitigated. Therefore, my expectation here should be that it's going to be consistent in what it's doing, right? Why would I bet that all of a sudden it's going to start going crazy when it's not showing that to me? Whereas if I trade it over here, if this was the E, here it does show me some craziness. I mean, it's not the best. It's also quite choppy, but it's definitely better than this. So before I even get to the E, I do not like this V. I really don't. But that's okay. Here we have a flush, and here I'm going to want to see some kind of build-up, right, and eventually a breakout and continuation, and we should see that on the 1 minute. So here's a flush. Eventually, we get to stage 1, and we get the breakout. And I remember last week I created this rule for myself that whenever this MB2, where I could already like start trading momentum MBs over here, right? Whenever this MB2 pulls back into the MB1, I'm going to call it for myself accumulation MB2, and I'm actually not going to trade it because I believe that's simply part of a bigger stage 1, and I'm only going to start trading higher. So I didn't trade anything here, and then it broke higher, and here actually I kind of like this. Okay, so if we go to the 10-second, I can see boom, 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 boom. I can see way more bullishness, right? There's like no doubt that this looks very different. Like compare this stage 2 with this stage 2. There is a clear as day difference, okay? And I did like this. I did like this. So I thought, okay, I can trade here. And this is a MMB on the 1 minute, so on the 10 second, I'm very valid to start trading. So I did. And I remember I was looking at this, and it here I already had my buy stop, but it went back lower, and then it created this double MB right here, and I thought that looks very nice, so I buy stopped it. And that taps me in, just chops around a little bit, and ultimately fucks me up. So the E this time was very nice. I do like the E. What I do not like is this entire nonsense. So basically, the preceding stage 2 determines whether or not I'm even eligible to trade in this area over here. Okay. I think I'm trying to be strict with myself on this one, and it's like it's a constant back and forth of having my rules a little too tight or a little bit too loose. And also, I'm on my forward test, so I'm not too strict with myself. I want to allow myself to make some mistakes to see why certain things are mistakes and really feeling it and seeing it over a big enough statistical sample. And time again, I can really see that if this preceding stage 2 is weak, the trades in here are not going to be worth trading. So ultimately, I should have probably waited. If this ended up being something very impulsive, this stage 2 would then allow me to start trading in this reaccumulation, right? That's what I should have waited for. So I'm really, really planning on like making this a super strict rule for myself because I'm starting to be convinced that there is absolutely no point in trading this weak, choppy nonsense. I'm really going to wait for something like this. You know what? I'm actually just going to immediately create a lesson here for myself, and I'm going to write this down because I really, really believe that this is a um, big plus EV filter, so to say. So the preceding stage 2 determines whether or not I'm even eligible to trade the next reaccumulation. Okay, and let's have a few examples. Actually, let me first mark it up. Boop and boop. Okay. So I'm gonna do this. 2 columns. Boom. And boom. This is, oops, I wanted to bullet. Alright, so the last one is weak as fuck, right? It's very choppy, and it always comes back to mitigate. Whereas the right one, hello, can I please go to the right one? I guess I can. Okay. I have no idea what's going on over here, but it's okay. Very strong. Leaves behind valid demand zones. Imbalance. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. So that's what I want to start with. Let me label this up. I know this was a little bit of a side quest, but I really thought this was important for myself to write it down. So let's start with the notes. Here, I really think the C was awesome. Good momentum, or yeah, good momentum is enough. Here, the V, uh, very choppy and weak. The 1 minute over here was good. I liked the 1 minute. Everything from here forward was good. This was trash, right? And this is directly correlated to this. If this looks trash, this will always look trash. Literally always. So before here, trash. After this, good. I'm just gonna write that down. So there we go. By itself, the E was good. Good momentum and everything on the right. But this this one thing makes this trade really, really trash. Anyway, this was a 10-second entry. So here, this was really nice. This was a perfect entry. Perfect DMB. I love this. This is a really, really nice entry. But simply this should have been proof to me enough that there is not a lot of buy pressure in the market, and I should not have participated in the first place. So yeah, ultimately a mistake. All right, moving on. Actually, not really. I need to first label it up. So, good context. Ugly, choppy. 1 minute was, well, let's say questionable, and 10 seconds was really good. Management wise, nothing to do, and ultimately it was a mistake. It was weak, and it was choppy. There we go. So yeah, this one took a long time, but the other ones are going to be faster. It's just that I needed to make this lesson for myself. So here we are on Euro USD, right? Very, very strong push over here. Started reaccumulating for quite some time. Here I would say probably made some kind of MB1, broke out higher, and this whole thing ended up being an MB2. And as it breaks higher over here, I am valid to start following all of this nonsense. Basically, over here, I'm expecting something similar to this, right? So now that I zoom into it, I can see a relatively strong momentum cycle, leaves behind imbalances. This is looking pretty good. I like trading here. So here it breaks down below the EMAs, starts going sideways a little bit, and then pushes out of the stage one. We can see that very nicely on the 1 minute. This was a beautiful accumulation schematic over here. It breaks out, pulls back into the rising 1020 EMA, the prime area. So here I can go to the 10-second and take a double MB. And this is, in my opinion, an absolutely beautiful, beautiful, picture perfect textbook double MB. Here it liquidates something, maybe even more over here, doesn't quite matter, but this looks like a really nice reaccumulation. Then it breaks higher with huge momentum. Somebody clearly presses the buy button, right? This is literally so we have ignition, then a small pause and reignition, right? This is just, it's so obvious. And here somebody takes a sell into it, some moron sells into it, and that is ultimately what gives us the opportunity, because this little pullback allows us to define risk nicely. And if this is to continue, it's probably going to continue in similar fashion to this. And sure enough, it taps me in, chops around a little bit, and then delivers insanely hard. And this was not news, by the way. This was just the market going really strong. I didn't trade during news. At least I believe. Let me check. So I didn't take this trade. Wasn't at the PC for this trade due to Easter. Oh, I see. It was on Easter. I see. I see. So yeah, I did spend Easter with my family, and I woke up much later than I normally would. Like normally I'm at the PC at 9 a.m. and I start trading, and this trade happened, I think like 9:30 or something. Yes, 9:30-ish. So I would definitely be able to take it, but because I wasn't home, I didn't take it, unfortunately. But the trade itself was absolutely amazing. This was perfect. So let me label that up. Good momentum over here. Definitely good momentum on the V. Definitely good momentum on the 1 minute. And absolutely perfect DMB. Perfect DMB. Could not be better. So this trade was perfect. Okay. Let me label that up. Everything gets a yellow. These are the types of trades I want to be taking. It doesn't get much better than this. Management wise, right? Taps me in here around, it starts chopping, I'm not interested. After this sign of strength, I'm really happy to reduce my risk to the orange line. And once it creates some structure, so this was the initial push, as you can see, I did not reduce risk until all the way over here, where it broke higher. This is showing me willingness that it wants to go, and at this point, I don't want to have any risk on the market. And yeah, that delivers. So continuing on, we have another Euro USD trade. So seeing what happened before on Euro USD gives me quite a lot of confidence that there is a chance it might continue, right? So here we have the exact same context, and here our previous trade was over here, and now we broke out higher and we pulled back into the rising 1020. So I think this is going to be a 1 minute entry most likely, because I'm going to be looking for a double MB on the 1 minute. So coming over here, uh, hmm. So one thing that I have noticed, and I have been troubleshooting quite a lot this week, also with my trading buddies, is that we try to define what the best entry kind of looks like fractally, right? And what I've come to realize is that whenever there is an institutional push, the best entries have the pullback and the ICI, right? They look like this. The good old school ICI. And ultimately, I feel like across my entire EVC, I can literally, well, I want to allow myself to only trade this over here. Only that. So whenever, like, I know we are using EVC in terms of like fixed time frames, but every time we can check all the different time frames to see exactly how the orders come in. And when we shuffle the time frames, we can find the one that is representing it in the nicest, cleanest way, right? And for example, right here, we can see that this is the institutional push, this is the pullback, and the perfect entry would look something like this, right? And I feel like over here, it's missing a little bit of a pullback. I think I'm getting involved a little bit too early. But yeah, that's just a refinement that I've made for myself to filter everything out even nicer, because I ultimately do not want to be getting involved in the stage ones over here. I want to really, really skip it. And I think the most edge ever is found exactly in this little area over here, which ultimately, or ideally, happens below the floating supply, but also a little bit after. So basically, the the area where I find edge is pretty much somewhere around here. This is where I want to be trading, right? Skip the stage one nonsense and skip the overextended nonsense. But here, it's perfect. So with that being said, I feel like this entry is a little bit too early. But even then, on the 1 minute, here, like, it doesn't leave any demand zones behind. It doesn't leave imbalance. It doesn't look very convincing. And now, seeing this and knowing this fact, I would skip this. I want to skip these kind of trades in the future. Ideally, what I would see here is perhaps something like this, and then an entry here below the floating supply. Maybe even like this whole thing could happen again a little bit above. Like if it happens like this, I'm happy to take it as well. But this is just a bit too early. And what happens? Well, this taps me in and almost delivers and comes back. So it ended up being a nice trade, but I don't know. I should not have. I don't want to be taking these kind of trades. Yeah, that's ultimately it. Also, it's not really. I'm not really trading an MMB here, which is not necessarily a problem, I guess. But yeah, I know what my best trades look like, and this is not one of them. So I want to skip this in the future. That's why I'm going to label it as a mistake. Okay. Oh, I also didn't take this due to Easter. I see. Yeah, it's here. Didn't take. Okay, cool. But yeah, I reduced risk over here. This is like enough strength, in my opinion. And then once it created fractal structure over here, that's where I went completely break even. But yeah, very good context. The V this time was beautiful, right? This is super, super nice, very impulsive. And the entry itself was questionable. It's not necessarily bad. Like, these trades can definitely work, but it's not my setup. So yeah, mistake. Moving on. A -1 on gold. All right. So gold, very, very strong, right? We have the first push, react, push. The expectation here is that this can easily continue. However, I can already see that this is a little bit uh, congested, and I wonder. Oh yeah, I see. I think in the previous trade, right, the previous gold trade, that was over here. Let me just see if it's the same area or not, because I think it's the same area. It's the same area after this ugly SV, isn't it? Actually, maybe not. Maybe not, right? I think it is, man. Am I stupid? So there's a push and a higher push that is ugly. There's a push and a higher push that no, it's not the same. Sorry about that. But yeah, anyway, looking at this, I think it's the same. Bro, am I retarded or something? Yeah, it is the same. It is the same. Of course it is. Just that it's in a different zoom, so it kind of looks weird. But yeah, this is the ugly ass push. We already talked about it. That should have disqualified all the trades over here. So if anything, I would have wanted to see a breakout out of here and then maybe trade something inside of here. But I should probably not have traded here. Anyway, I probably saw that this is the high, right, which lines up with all of this, and I see some consolidation below that, and here I see a breakout on really, like, really impulsive, really nice. So I probably talked myself into trading this because of that. And here, this looks like somebody presses the buy button, looks very, very good, and this DMB looks very good as well. So yeah, I understand why I talked myself into trading this, but ultimately, because of this was not enough like confirmation for me that price wants to go higher. If anything, like my expectation should have been, because of all of this chop, that the market will remain consistent in what it is doing, which is chopping. So ultimately this would lead to chopping me up and fucking to the downside, right? That's what I should have expected, and I could have maybe prevented this loss simply by understanding that this is most likely going to be a redistribution. And sure enough, taps me in, chops around a little bit, and then goes lower. And I think it continued lower after that. So probably could have avoided this, mainly because of what we already discussed, and that is this weak-ass stage 2 before of that. So that's how I'm going to approach this trade. I see I didn't label my stuff up. That's unfortunate. Let's do it again. Good momentum, everything is good. Questionable entry. Okay. Good momentum over here on the 1 hour. Weak. Stage 2. Choppy. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so this is a mistake. And you can see, like, there are so many different rules, right? Because you might be saying, look, 4 trades in, and there's already 3 mistakes. Like, Vlad, what's going on? Are you retarded? And while I might be, it ultimately comes down to how many different small rules I have that are already quite a lot refined. And I simply call it a mistake because it hasn't followed all of them. But these trades are already, like, they follow so many principles well. They are like 95% perfect or 90% perfect. And there's only like a tiny little bit of minor refinements that I need to stick to, that I really need to drill into my head to be completely happy with the types of trades I take. So it's this refinement process, right, where once I refine it to its final stage, and I'm going to be very, very happy with it, and I'm going to also train myself to execute really well, it's game over. It's done, right? That system is going to last me for a lifetime. So I'm really okay with making these mistakes, especially during my forward test. It's basically like sparring sessions before a big fight, right? In the sparring sessions, I can try new stuff, I can experiment, I can do all kinds of shit. But then when it comes to the real deal, to the real world, to live trading, I need to have something that I can rely on. But that something is being forged right now, and forging is not it's not possible without mistakes, at least in my opinion. So I made three mistakes. I'm okay with it. They're still very, very good trades overall. And if I compare it to what I used to trade like a year ago, these trades are amazing. And I think even right now, with what I have, I'm very profitable, at least on paper. So if I refine it even more, that's awesome. Anyway, side quested again. Let's go into this next trade, I guess. Is it this one? Wait, this was a gold -1, right? Yeah. So let me label that up. That was good context. Very ugly and choppy V. Was it a 1 minute entry? Nope, it wasn't. There was good momentum over here, and the 10-second entry itself was beautiful. That was so nice. So that's that. And this was ultimately a mistake. Weak, choppy. There we go. So yeah, next trade. And that's a break even on gold. Check it out. So yeah, here we break out. Okay. So here we break out into a new high, right? And we do it after we come back into this choppy range, and then all of a sudden, huge momentum shows up, right? I want to see how it looked like. Oh yeah, this is enormous momentum, and I think that's why I was okay with trading here, because as I said before, I would like to see momentum out of this, and then I would be looking to get into the reaccumulation, and that's exactly what is happening here. So this is the range, right? It went high, went here, and then it did this. So that would be a pretty nice ICI, I guess, and I want to see it on the lower time frame. And here, that was a very big sell-off. So I think I waited a little bit to see, like the sell-off came from somewhere over here. So I wanted to see price go above that. It did, and then it created a beautiful MMB. And that was worth the risk for me because I saw this momentum coming out of this choppy nonsense, and I just wanted to be in it. And I think this trade was pretty good. Tapped me in, pretty much instantly went to risk free, but then ultimately died off and couldn't follow through to full target. So there wasn't enough juice. But this trade I like. This trade was not perfect, but it was good. It was definitely good. So that's good momentum over here, good momentum over here, very good momentum over here. And the reason why it's not perfect is that this doesn't look like the perfect range that I'm used to. It looks a little bit weird. It's not as clean, but it's still good. Follows the principle, so to say. Follows the order flow. So yeah, this was good. Whoop. Let's label it up. Good context, good momentum, and good entry. Management-wise, I reduced risk after these three candles. Could have probably reduced already after two, but yeah, this is enough strength for me. And then it pulled back a little bit. Once it broke that high, I was completely risk-free. So that was perfect. Moving on, we have a -1 on gold over here. Okay. So what happened? It's gold all over again. Big momentum over here, right? I was definitely trying to find something over here because this looks amazing. This looks like somebody pressed the buy button and it pulled back nicely. I wonder why I didn't take a trade here. Let's take a look if there was anything. I see, simply because there wasn't any, like, I didn't like this, so to say, because this was really nice, right? This push, which qualifies me that I can trade over here. And here is pulled back. I assume stage 1 in the lower part. So everything here was stage 1 for me. If it did something like this, I would definitely buy stop, but it didn't present an entry for me. But here it continued higher, and here I can very comfortably trade an MMB on the 10 second. So let's take a look what happened. Here it kept going higher, 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 and I took this trade. Honestly, I think I was a little bit too hasty with this one. This is not a very nice flush. Like, yeah, there is some flush over here, but this doesn't look like a reset to me just yet. Doesn't look like a reaccumulation. If anything, like here, it showed that it doesn't have the strength to continue. So I would expect the market to hunt some liquidity to the downside, reaccumulating before going higher. So looking at it now, after it happened, and really paying attention to detail, I would probably not take this entry again. Instead, I would really like to see some kind of deeper flush, a major flush. But even then, like, it was a decent entry, or was it? I don't know. But yeah, this just grabs some more liquidity above here and instantly fucks off. And even here already, like here, it would have already been better to look for an entry. This was simply too early. So that's how I'm going to approach it ultimately. What the fuck? Okay. Good momentum. Very good momentum on all of these time frames. And then I was like, oh my god, yes, yes, good momentum. I need to board this train. But I was a little bit too hasty. So too early. No flush. And I get punished for it. So mistake. But a very valuable mistake. I like it a lot. Moving on. No, we're not moving on. First filling out this. What was it, a 10-second entry? Yep. So bad entry. I don't even have this mistake here yet, so that's pretty cool. Too early. And management-wise, there was nothing to do. Mistake. Too early. Cool. Moving on. What's next? A Bitcoin break even. I think this is a short, isn't it? Nope, it's a long. It's a long. Okay. So I happen to also know what's happening on the weekly on the Bitcoin because I follow it quite a lot. So I know that Bitcoin is overall in a very strong trend and it's currently reaccumulating. It had a little bit of stage 1 accumulation at the bottom of the range and it's now breaking out of it, right? And that's the red stage 1 over here. And it's breaking out on really, really strong momentum. There's an argument to be made that maybe this is overextended, but I wouldn't say so. Like here we have the initial push, MMB1, and now I'm expecting MMB2. So taking a look at this, these waves are beautiful, right? This looks like a really nice trend. Yeah, this went a little bit deeper, but that could be seen as a reset potentially. And here the momentum is back. And after this big candle, I'm most definitely looking to get into a trade over here, right? Because it looks like it wants to go higher. So zooming into it, we have a relatively strong push over here that reaccumulates, eventually breaks higher. And as it pulls back here, what is this? 1 minute. Oh, there was a trade here already. What happened with that? I guess I didn't take that. Oh yeah, I remember. I did not. I didn't, and then I took the follow-up. But I didn't actually put the previous trade into my Miro and Notion. I forgot about that. But yeah, there was a very valid entry over here, and just look at this. This is like a perfect ICI. Or DMB, whatever you want to call it. This DMB was really nice. Like it left behind the demand zone, right? Imbalance looks super strong, and I would be happy to buy stop here. And that delivered very quickly. So I thought, okay, this still has potential to continue. And as it goes higher, it pulls back into the rising 1020. And I guess what I do here is, no, I don't even go to the 10-second. I see this, right? And I want to buy stop here because this is essentially the same, isn't it? Yeah, it's exactly the same. So same entry, and I thought maybe there's going to be enough juice to take it higher. But there wasn't. It was a beautiful entry. It immediately went risk-free, but there simply wasn't enough juice. And as you can see, this is already like the third trade this week that went to like 4R and not to 6. And that's just unfortunate, but I know that there will be times when there will be enough juice and it will give me the plus 6s. Just not this time, and that's okay. So, oopsie. Very good momentum over here, very good momentum over here, and here as well. Everything looks super, super good here. And this was a 1 minute entry. I didn't even need to look lower. So yeah, this was, I would say this was perfect. I really like this a lot. I would take this trade anytime again. Nice. And management-wise, reduced risk as it broke higher over here. I guess that's already completely risk-free. No, it should have been. It probably should have been. So not the perfect risk management here, but still, still very good. No problem with that. So perfect. And 4 more trades. So Bitcoin again, I saw that this is very strong and it probably continued being strong. Let's see if that's actually the case. So that was our previous trade, right? Here it delivered. That's over here. This still looks very convincing, like big buy orders are dropping on the market, so I'm assuming that should continue. And here I have a stage 1, right? It breaks out, which is the MB1, and here it creates a beautiful, beautiful MMB. It doesn't come lower to mitigate or whatever, it just, this looks like an MMB to me, so I'm happy, very happy to buy stop that. And let's see what happened. Okay, so here it just taps me in and pretty much instantly fucks me up. That's unfortunate, but is there an argument to be made that maybe we were a bit overextended on this push? Let's see. So this would be my my MB1. This whole thing I would probably see as MB2. No, this was definitely not overextended. So I think this trade was good. I like this trade. I will take it again, I think. Good momentum on all of these time frames, right? Yes. What about this? Yes, this looks very good. Yeah, I like it. This is good. I think this was a 1 minute entry, wasn't it? Yep, it was. All right, perfect. Let's move on. Spread loss on gold. So what do we have here? Let me drink a bit. All right. So there is some kind of ongoing downtrend over here. And then we have a reversal without really having a stage 1. Just kind of goes higher. And let me see what happened over here. So this is, I don't know, is it really strong or not? It's kind of choppy. Like every time it goes, it returns. Honestly, it's not looking too good. Doesn't leave imbalance behind. Honestly, I probably should not have traded this push. This doesn't look very convincing to me. And also, I don't really like V-shaped stuff. Like, just looking at the C, not looking at anything else, I probably should not have traded here. But it's alright. Let's take a look over here. So this is the push, right? It starts reaccumulating. I see probably all of this as a stage 1. I remember this trade. I remember looking at it, but I didn't take it because it was inside the stage 1, but it would have delivered very nicely. But once we get out of the stage 1, this starts creating an MMB over here, right? And that's where I can trade on the lower time frame. So whether or not I can trade over here should be determined by this push, right? So let's take a look at this push. Is it strong? I mean, this one is kind of okay, like especially here. Yeah, it doesn't mitigate back everything. You know, it doesn't give all its gains away. It kind of does accelerate. Here, honestly, I don't know. This doesn't look too convincing to me. This still, yes, it's moving higher. Yeah, here is some demand here. It's not the worst. It's all right, but I don't know, man. Then there is this big sell-off. Like I probably argued. Okay, I understand. I argued that this is a flush, and here I would go for the continuation. But honestly, this just looks weak. This looks weak. So here we are on the 10 second, and on the 10 second itself, I remember I was simply watching for the ICI, right, like this. So I waited and I saw this high that was valid, kind of. But if I look at the 10 second, okay, so this is probably an MB and this is an MB. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, but it's all mitigated. This validation, I like to see the big, strong validation here, right? This is not a big, strong validation. Everything came back and mitigated. This doesn't look too convincing at all. And I get lucky. I get tapped in, and it goes higher, and I reduce risk. Of course, not completely. I still have a little bit of, I think, 0.1 R risk here. I would reduce it completely if it broke higher. But here I took a minus 0.1. This taps me out. I guess I must have made a mistake with the screenshot. Whatever. So yeah, I'm shown mercy. I should have gotten a -1 here, definitely. This is trash. Should not have traded here. Like, this entire trade looks terrible. Looks weak. There is good momentum here on the 6 minute. This looks good. That's probably the best time frame on it. But this, oof, this is weak. Weak stage 2. Weak preceding stage 2. And, of course, choppy. And this one, I would say weak MB1 validation. And overall, ugly entry. So there is a lot wrong with this trade. A lot wrong. I do not like this trade at all. So let's label that up. Ugly context. Good momentum on the V. Ugly 1 minute. Very weak. And 10 second. Bad entry. Weak. Choppy. Management wise, nothing to do. So yeah, this sucked. Alright, moving on. We have the last trade of this week, and that's on gold again. And it's in the same context as before, which I already said I don't really like. And here, really strong momentum shows up, very strong momentum. And I see I already looked for an entry over here. I think I didn't take this because of news or something. I think there was literally news at 1540, if I remember correctly. So I didn't take it, otherwise I would, and it would be a break even. But anyway, very strong momentum shows up over here. And as it starts reaccumulating, it looks like reignition comes in, and a very strong DMB, very strong. I like this DMB a lot. I think this was good. And taps me in almost instantly, risk-free, and it comes, I think, to like 5R. So this is the fourth trade today that went to like, I mean, not today, this week, that went to like 5R and just fell 1R short or some stuff. And that's just unfortunate. If I had just, let's say, a tiny bit tighter stop loss, I would probably hit my targets. But I'm not going to make any changes. I know this is going to happen. This is ultimately the most painful scenario for a 6R fixed. Whenever you have a fixed TP, there will always be trades that will come close to your TP, not hit it, and come all the way back. This is normal, and I need to get used to it. This is nothing to be frustrated about. And to be honest, I'm not frustrated about it. I'm really chill. I feel like I understand it very well, but I need to hammer it into my head continuously. I think that's a very good practice for myself. And, just keep experiencing all of this over and over, be very conscious about it, and sooner or later, I would say rather soon, I'm going to fix all of these tiny little mistakes. And yeah, I'm very confident that I will end with a super profitable system. So yeah, this looked good all the way till here. The C, I don't really like the C, but everything else looked amazing. So looked kind of weak. Besides that, good momentum over here. Very good momentum over here. Whoopsie. Very good momentum over here. And I would call this a perfect DMB. Bruh. Perfect DMB. Alright. And that's it. Let me label it up. Ugly context. Everything else is perfect. Yeah. Alright, that's it. And this is what? This is the lesson, I think. Let me just tag it as a lesson. Oop, there we go. So that's it. How many mistakes? Let me see. So there were like 10 trades, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mistakes. Okay. Half of the mistakes, not the best. But honestly, the only mistake that I'm actually a little bit angry about is this trade. Is it? Yo, what? Bruh, what did I do here? This was not so. Oh, I see. I just copied it but didn't rewrite it as mistake. Cool. So yeah, trading in this context, I think, was simply not the best. I could have definitely avoided this and traded in something that is clearer. I know that on a higher time frame, there is already like a preceding downtrend over here, right? So this is redistribution. Normally, I would just like to zoom out and wait for the market to get at least above this level on the higher time frame, and then maybe trade it. Like, this was just not too good. I guess I followed the V momentum or whatever, but I want to pay attention to the C much more, because a good C is preceding of everything, right? Trading in a very good context in a market that has money coming into it day after day, and that's what I'm looking for, right? I believe that's where I have the best chances for myself to have momentum on my side, to have the composite man continuing to inject money into it. Whereas if I trade in an overall bearish market and I trade bullish, well, I mean, all of this should be assumed redistribution. So taking longs into that when I'm already expecting that sells will overpower it anyway, it's kind of silly, I feel like. But yeah, that is something to pay attention to. Anyway, I have to say I'm kind of. Oh, by the way, why is this here? Oh, I see. This is a trade. Oh no. It tapped me in with one tick and then delivered. Oh, that's unfortunate as well. That's this trade. Yeah, I took this trade too early, as I said, I remember. Yeah, too early, no flush. Was there an entry actually after it? So this was already a good flush. And this one, I don't know. I probably would not take this one. It's too high. If this happened just a tiny little bit lower, then I would take it. But I didn't. This was just unfortunate. Yeah, overall, like a little bit of an unfortunate week, but I'm pretty happy with how I executed. What I really need to pay attention to is not trading these weak ass stage twos. Basically, whenever I see a weak ass stage two that doesn't go to higher highs with leaving imbalance, and doesn't come back to mitigate, uh, I don't know what I just said. Whatever. I got bamboozled. No, whenever I see a stage 2 that mitigates a lot and doesn't just go, that should be a warning sign to me to not trade the reaccumulation. So this is a disqualifier. That's probably my number one lesson from this week. I really want to stick to that. I want to stick to these kind of stage 2s, to the strong ones, right? And other than that, I'm happy with how I traded. Feel like it was pretty good. Yeah, if I stick to that rule, I would have skipped many trades over here as well. Hmm. Yeah, I'm happy with it. Good week. Definitely good lessons for myself. Got some refinements, got some ideas, and I'm very much looking forward to the next week. And I think that's all, isn't it? How long is this one? Sheesh, 50 minutes. All right, I'm going to do the results and everything by myself, and I'll see you guys in the markets. Peace.